Good afternoon, Facebook world. Welcome to another Facebook Live with the Kentucky Career Center, another Facebook Live coaching session. So we're really excited about today, a little different format. So if you are out there watching, make sure that you can let me know that you can hear and see us. That's really important that you're able to hear and see what I'm saying. But we're really excited. Thanks for joining us today. I hope everyone's staying safe and adjusting to COVID life. It's kind of crazy how much has changed since COVID, not only on a personal life, but business as usual. Businesses are different. So it's kind of interesting to see what we've done. So almost everything now is offered virtually. Literally almost everything we can do virtually. And it's no different for businesses that are looking to hire, right? So it's the same thing. Businesses are going through the same thing. So with technology entering our lives, video conferencing tools like Zoom, GoToMeetings, Microsoft Teams, they're more popular than ever. And conducting business over the phone has begun to increase as well, even more with COVID. So guess what that means? It means that interviews are done virtually. It means that phone interviews are completed. So this week, we're definitely going to talk about how you ace that upcoming virtual interview. That's what's important, right? How do we ace our upcoming virtual interview? So if you're here, make sure you can comment and let us know that you can see us. Haley and Kimberly, thanks for joining us. So we're going to give everybody just a couple seconds to join here. I've talked for a little bit. So if you missed what I said, that was definitely interesting. Go back and watch it from the beginning. So we're actually going to get started. So here we go. I know that interviews can be scary, right? Probably everybody out there knows an interview can be scary. So today we're just going to talk just one-on-one about how to ace a virtual interview, much less an interview in the first place. So if you have questions that pop up throughout, just go ahead and throw them in the chat. We'll get to them either as they come in or throughout, but we're really excited. So like we said, interviews are scary. It's nerve-wracking, much less a virtual interview, something that maybe some of us haven't done before. So we want to give you the tips to be successful, to ace that job interview. Interviews make or break you, right? So there's a reason that it's stressful if you're going to an interview. So COVID has changed some things and how we work. You may do an interview at a library. You can do it from your home. You can do it at Panera Bread. You can do it at McDonald's. Pretty much anywhere you have internet access, you can conduct an interview now. So they're even more common. Like we said, it's starting to grow. You'll typically have phone interviews before you have a face-to-face interview. But both voice and video interviews bring a unique set of challenges. So we're going to talk about how to get over those challenges today. But with the right preparation, you can make the best of them, even if it is a surprise interview just in stride. So let's talk first about some of the advantages of a virtual interview, right? You can participate from the comfort of your own home, right? Anywhere in the world, you can do a phone interview. So you're more comfortable, you're more relaxed there. You're not in an office setting. You're kind of able to take a deep breath and decompress because you're at home or you're somewhere comfortable. Phone interviews offer you the ability to showcase your verbal communication if body language is an issue. So a popular term is, everybody talks about that resting face, right? So if you have that resting face in the phone interview, they don't see it. They just hear what a great talker you are, what a great speaker you are, the energy and the passion that you have. So that's a benefit of it. You can have relevant fact and figures handy at your interview. You can take a cheat sheet in with you of things that you want to mention during your interview, that you want to talk about during your interview. You can't do that in a face-to-face interview. You can't have the cheat sheet that I have here in your face-to-face interview. So that's awesome that you can do that. You can schedule it in advance. That shows that you're flexible, that you're willing to use technology, which might give you a boost up in your interview. So there's some benefits to it, right? It's definitely neat if you can do things remotely, if you can work from home and you can be comfortable, but there are some challenges. And some of the best ways to handle those challenges is just being prepared, just getting it done early, being prepared for this so you can focus solely on crushing your interview when that time has come. So one of the first things that we would suggest is record a professional professional voicemail message as soon as you submit your resume, in case someone contacts you at the worst possible time, right? We don't want that goofy message that I had in high school where you answer, you're like, hello, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. And then leave a message after the beep. That doesn't look professional. So it gives you time, get that set out of the way, and then make a list of your strengths and weaknesses to have handy. Like we said, you can have a cheat sheet with you, right? You're going through a phone interview. You got this little piece of paper with everything that you're great at on it. Phone interview, virtual, you can reference that. So having those with you is important. Review the job advertisement and match your requirements to it. You should do that for any interview, but especially with a phone interview. They're not going to see you looking at the website. They're not going to see you have something written down on a piece of paper. So it's a chance to sell yourself. Research the key facts about the organization and the company. What are they involved in? What do they do? What's the future outlook? What are news? Are they big in social media? What cultural impacts do they have? And again, just having that written down on a list of the side is awesome. Having a list of examples and projects that you can use to demonstrate your skills, things that you've done in the past. Again, you have them written down on the side. And you can just reference those throughout. And that's really one of the biggest benefits of the virtual interview. If you were to do a Zoom interview, you can have that written on the side and reference that. So that's huge. Keeping your cover letter and your resume next to you. That way you can access them throughout the interview. If they ask you a question about something that you put on your cover letter, you'll have that ready. And then it gives you a chance, and this is a big one, to prepare for this interview, is to write your elevator pitch, right? What have you done in the past? What are you doing now? And what do you want to do in the future? If you don't know how to write an elevator pitch, or if you don't know what an elevator pitch is, guess what? I know tons of people that would love to help with that, because that's what we do. Anybody here at the Kentucky Career Center and the talent development or youth talent development team or City Futures or anywhere would love the opportunity to help you get that ready so you can shine. So you know the benefits, you've prepared for it, and now you got to set up for it, right? I mean, that's a big thing that happens. So one of the biggest things that we would suggest is just find a quiet room that allows you to give the interview without any disturbances, right? You probably don't want your dog's running around in the background. You don't want, your significant other doing dishes or playing PlayStation in the background. Give yourself an area where you can be quiet and you can just be in the moment to do that. Optimize the room temperature and light so that you're comfortable during an interview. You don't want to start sweating in the middle of an interview because you went to the shed that doesn't have any air conditioning. Find a comfortable chair and desk. We want you to be comfortable. We want you to exude confidence when you're in this interview, right? We want you to be happy and to show that you're the person for this job, right? So being comfortable and just being, there and present is a big step in getting set up for this. One of the big ones is just inform your family and friends about the time of the interview to make sure no one interrupts you, right? I don't want to be doing an interview and my mom come bursting in with my laundry in the background, right? Just put up a sign that says I'm busy. Put up a sign on the door that says, I'm in an interview. Please don't ring the doorbell. If UPS shows up and they're dropping something off at the door, you don't want them ringing the doorbell and the dog's going crazy and kids crying and, everything happening. You just want to have a nice, 45-minute to an hour block set aside where you can focus solely on this. Drink plenty of water ahead of time and keep more close, right? We don't want you eating or drinking during an interview, but you don't want to get choked up because your mouth is parched and you don't have any water to drink. So you want to make sure that you can, be ready to go, have water to drink if you need it. Silence the cell phone. Turn your cell phone off. Make sure your cell phone is off, right? You don't want Facebook notifications, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. You don't want people calling you. Keep it off if you're doing a virtual cell phone. A big one, keep your phone and your laptop charged. Keep it ready, right? You don't want to be in the middle of a Zoom interview and boom, your laptop dies. Keep that stuff ready to go. Have a pen and paper available so you can take notes. You can schedule any follow-ups. You can mark your calendar. And a big one here is dress professionally for your interview, right? We know that you're doing it from the comfort of your home. We know that you're taking that phone call, you're doing that Zoom conference call, right? Make sure you're dressed professionally. I know it's tempting, right? I've done tons of Zoom meetings. I know that it is very tempting to throw on the polo or the button-up shirt and the tie and then just the shorts underneath, right? While it's tempting and it may be more comfortable, don't do it. What if your camera falls down, right? And they see that you're wearing your old gym shorts. What if you have to get up because there's an unexpected interruptance? You don't want those shorts on. Go ahead and just fully commit to it and throw on, dress like you're going for that in-person interview, especially if it's a phone interview, right? If it's a phone interview, they're not going to see you, but get dressed up. That way you feel ready and you feel prepped for this interview, right? You wouldn't go to an interview in your flip-flops and your Metallica t-shirt and your basketball shorts, right? If it's a phone interview, dress how you would for a face-to-face interview. That's going to set the tone, and it's going to get you ready to really knock that interview out of the park. So then a couple more things we want to talk about, just that setup, getting yourself there, is just visualize any obstacles or interruptions that you might have, right? Call drops. How do you handle if a call drops, right? You're in the middle of this phone interview, call drops. Your phone goes dead, their phone goes dead, something happens. How do you handle that? Just be prepared to call back and say, hey, I'm really sorry. Something happened with my phone. I dropped the call. But just being prepared and aware that that's a possibility can set you ahead. And again, it shows the organization or the person that you're interviewing with, they're resourceful. They know how to think on their feet. And then rehearse a simulated interview with someone and practice answers. We know that this is new. We know it can be intimidating. So rehearse your interview. Go through a mock interview. If you don't have anybody to do a mock interview, guess what? I know a lot of people that would love to do mock interviews with people. That's what we do here. We want you to be prepared and feel confident when you step into that interview. So now comes the big part, right? Now comes the interview. Everything that you've worked for, you built your resume, you built your cover letter, you searched for a job, you submitted it, and now it's the interview, right? So you've prepped, you've prepared, and you've practiced. Now it's time for that actual interview. Don't get worked up. Just remember the 5 Ps, right? If there's anybody out there from the military, they know what the 5 Ps are. Proper planning prevents poor performance, right? You've practiced. You've prepared for this. You're fine. You're ready to go. You're in a good place. Just be ready, right? You've done everything that you need to do. So in the interview, just mind your posture and avoid slouching, right? You're relaxed. You're in your chair. You don't want to sit back like this. And, stand up, be presentable, be professional. Don't eat or drink or smoke during your interview. Again, if you have to take a drink of water, grab a drink of water if you're parched or if your throat's a little dry. Just grab that. And then be aware of sounding over familiar, right? Refer to them by a professional name, even if you know them. Refer to them by their surname, Mr. Griffith, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, unless they just say, just call me Garrett. That way, you're not just kind of giving off this, you're just too familiar with it. A big one that we want to talk about is don't interrupt the interviewer. Really let them control the flow of the conversation. Let them do most of the talking. Sometimes, not that it's a bad thing to interject, but just make sure that there's enough pause there that you know that they're done. Let them control the talking. That takes the onus off of you, the pressure off of you, and you're just answering their questions. When it is your turn, be brief and factual. You don't want to kind of run on and take a lot of time. Be brief, factual. You have those key points set aside. If you've prepared, hit those key points and move forward. Avoid yes or no answers. Even if it is a yes or no question, elaborate, give some details with it. Sell yourself in this. Don't hem and haw while answering questions. It indicates indecisiveness. Sound enthusiastic. Be excited that you're here and you're getting this opportunity. You're excited about that. That's saying something about you. You don't just want to, I kind of like to do this. Be excited. Be enthusiastic. This is the interview for your dream job. Pause. Think and give clear answers, right? I'm guilty of running on and talking really, really, really fast. Just pause, think, and give clear answers. This is an opportunity to sell yourself. Again, avoid those cliched responses, right? Do some research, sell yourself. Don't sound cliche. One of the things I always say is your interview is your sales pitch, right? If you're selling a car and it's got high mileage, do you say, well, it's got some miles, but it'll run? No, you say this is the most dependable, reliable car I've ever had, right? It's dependable. It's great. Same thing. If you're selling a house, if you see a house, would you say, well, it needs some work? Or do you say it's a handyman's dream, right? Just sell it, twist those words around and sell yourself. This is your opportunity to sell yourself to a company, to your future employer. So be proud of what you're saying and just kind of avoid the cliche words. Be honest about unexpected distractions, right? Life happens. We know that life happens. If your dog starts barking, you're doing it from home. Most people are working from home. Now they understand that things happen. Just kind of have that discussion. Hey, I'm really sorry about that. Let's just move on. Don't get hung up on it. Don't let it freak you out. But, try to limit those as much as you can. But life does happen. Somebody rings the doorbell. Hey, I'm really sorry about that. We were getting a package delivered today. And just keep moving on. Take quick notes, or the best way is record the phone conversation. You can refer to it later for the face-to-face interview, right? You can touch up on things that you thought really went really well, or if you thought, well, that didn't sound too good, I'm going to change it up for the face-to-face interview. And then once the interview concludes, be sure to ask what steps are next. When am I going to hear from you again? How long does that process take? Again, that shows initiative. It shows drive. It shows that you're passionate about what you're doing. And so you've kind of done all these things, you've planned, you've prepared, you've got everything set up the way you want it to go. You just killed the interview. You just gave the interview of a lifetime. You absolutely rocked it. And you think it's over. Well, it's actually not. There's a little bit after that, right? Following up is just as important as anything else. Again, it shows motivation. It shows drive. It shows a desire for that position. It shows I am ready for this position. I want this position. I am the person. I am the one individual that you want for your position. So what are some questions that you want to ask and follow up, right? So just ask when and how can I follow up, right? We've done this great interview. Just ask me, Mr. Griffith, I had a great time today. I really appreciate you taking time to meet with me. How can I follow up with you about this position? And when should I follow up about this position? Again, it's showing that you're invested in this, that you want to know what the next steps are. Always, always, always send a thank you email, right? After every interview, wait 2 hours, wait till the next day, just send an interview that says, Mr. Griffith, thank you so much for the opportunity again to interview for the talent development position with Brighton Center at the Kentucky Career Center. I look forward to hearing your response, right? Again, it keeps you fresh in their mind. Hiring managers, you might apply for a position that has 50 applicants, right? And they've got to go through 50 applications. They're going to remember the person that took time to send them an email to say, hey, thank you so much. And if you don't hear back, it's ideal. And it's okay to send an email a week after the phone interview, right? People are busy. It takes time to hire people. It takes time to go through an onboarding process, right? So reach back out to them and say, hey, I had the interview. I just kind of, would like to follow up on it, see if the position has been filled, right? The worst you're going to hear is no, right? That's the worst that's going to happen is they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, we filled the position. But at least you get closure. At least you know what happened. And it gives you the opportunity to kind of bring it all back together, right? So following up is important. Ask how and when I can follow up. When and how can I follow up with you? Send that thank you email. And if you don't hear anything, reach back out, send them an email. So at this time, I've kind of talked about what we want to talk about, kind of the pieces of it, right? We talked about you're gonna prepare. You're going to practice. You're going to get set up. You're going to crush that interview because you're great at it. We know you are, right? And if you think you need help with an interview, scrolling across the bottom is the best way to get a hold of us. You can reach out to us. We'd love the opportunity to do a mock interview with you, to set up a Zoom interview, like a panel meeting with a couple talent development specialists to reach out with you and get you prepared for this. But if you do have a question, I know that there was at least one in the chat, so we'll throw that up. But if you have a question, sometimes there is a delay, so go ahead and throw it out there. If you're watching this later, comment, and we'll get back to it as soon as possible. But we do know that interviews are intimidating. They're scary. It can be something new for you. It could be your first interview. It could be your first virtual interview. It could be your first phone interview. And it's okay to be nervous. It's okay to have those feelings where like, I don't feel great about this. I don't feel confident about this. That's normal. Right? That's okay. So you're having these discussions, but just know that there's people here. And I promise you, there's people here at the Kentucky Career Center that are here to help. whether it's conducting a mock interview, whether it's doing a phone interview or a Zoom interview or a Teams or GoToMeeting, whether it's helping you complete your resume, whether it's just searching for your dream job or any job or your first job, there's people here that are willing to help and that want to help you be successful. So again, the best way to contact us, to reach out to a talent development specialist. If you're in an interview and you mess up a word, just start over and go again. It's okay. It'll happen. Just reach out to us. Again, it's scrolling across the bottom. It's careercoach@brightoncenter.com, or you can call 859-667-3534. And we'll throw that in the chat. But again, it's a great opportunity to just be ready, right? Interviews are going to happen. It's a part of it. All of these work for a regular interview, even if it's not virtual or over the phone. Now, you probably don't want to bring a cheat sheet in with you, or write it on your hand and constantly look at your hand if you're in the middle of an interview. But it's the same thing. Prepare, plan, practice. Right? Prepare, plan for it, practice for it. So I think we're going to go ahead and jump into the questions here. I know that we have one, or it's more of a statement. So Elizabeth Adams said, Elizabeth is with us, the Kentucky Career Center here. So we can help you find a job and help you with the elevator pitch, right? And the elevator pitch is really, you just had a great interview. You get on the elevator, and who jumps on the elevator with you? The president of the company. And he says, hey, what are you doing here? Oh, I just had an interview. You've got between floor 10 and floor 1 to sell them on you, so he remembers your name. So again, it's a great opportunity to do that and to practice your elevator pitch. And again, as Elizabeth said, we can help you with that. And again, Eric Owsley, Eric is with us. We have a great health career fair on Thursday. And there's over 15 healthcare employers that are going to be there, and they're going to be doing interviews. They're going to be talking to you. This is good prep. This is a great way to practice for that. Plan, what are you going to say? How are you going to sell yourself? So again, a lot goes into it, and we know that it can be scary, and we know that it can be intimidating. And that's why I want you to know that we're here to help. And we're here to help you ace that interview, whether it's in person, whether it's on the phone, or whether it's through Zoom. We're here to make sure that you're ready to go and that you get that job that you dream of and that you're working for. So again, we just want to thank everybody for taking time to join us today. And we did a little different format. We didn't really have a guest speaker with us today, but we wanted to go over these tips because there are a lot of phone interviews that are happening, and there's a lot of virtual interviews that are happening out there. So thank you, everyone, for taking time to join us today. We'll be back next Tuesday at 1 o'clock with our guest, Marcia Baker from the Kentucky Career Center at CVG, to talk about all the great things that are happening at CVG and the career opportunities there at the airport. And don't forget to join us Thursday morning. Haley Franklin will be back with another local employer spotlighting the careers that they have. So again, if you see this later, reach out to us, make comments in the comment section. We monitor these. So if you do have a question, we can get back to you. We know not everybody can watch at 1 o'clock. So if you're watching it at 10 o'clock, 1 a.m., doesn't matter. Comment, reach out to us. We'd be happy to help and hear from you. But again, thank you, everyone, for taking time to join us today. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you on Thursday and next Tuesday. Have a great week, everybody. Bye-bye.